My name is Brian Burgess, Chairman of Supporters Direct. We're going to have a very short closing session now, and for those of you who are booked on the 5:45 tour of Wembley, don't worry. I think we'll probably finish before then anyway, but if we don't, the tour will wait until we've finished, so no need to panic. Thank you very much to the Blizzard, to Rory Smith, James Horncastle, James Montague and Miguel Delaney. It's quite interesting to hear them talk about football after all the stimulating and lively debate that we've had about the supporter-related aspects to it today. And I hope that you've all enjoyed the day and found it stimulating. For our closing address, I'm going to hand over to Kevin Miles, who's the Chief Executive of the Federation, the Football Supporters Federation, sorry, FSF. Kevin's put in a lot of work with his team to organise today, and he's going to have the last word.
I'd like to thank Brian for that direct supporters thing. I'll try to keep this relatively brief because we are at the end of a long day. We're at the end of a long season, in fact. It becomes increasingly difficult, particularly in the year of the World Cup, to identify precisely where one season ends and the next one begins. And personally, I'm here attending the Supporters Summit, having already attended pre-season friendlies for the season to come. I had the privilege of filling myself with hope and optimism for the season in front of us by watching Newcastle United in their friendly at Oldham last Tuesday, which the success there in holding Oldham to only a 2-1 victory over Newcastle really fills me with enthusiasm for the season to come. But we have as yet 38 Premier League fixtures, none of which have we yet lost. And it's that crumb of optimism that I'm holding on to. But I hope that everybody who's attended over the course of yesterday for the AGMs and today for the Supporters Summit itself have found the event both enjoyable and productively useful. I always find these events are enjoyable, if not least for the purposes of being reunited with a lot of familiar faces. I've come here and I meet a lot of old friends and a lot of just old people. But I think one of the things for me that I particularly enjoyed is to see at this year's event also new faces. People have joined the supporters struggle, have joined in the activities that we've done. I think we have, and there's progress still to be made on these things, but a more diverse audience. We have an even broader range of issues that we're trying to take up, and I hope that in the course of the proceedings that people have worked so hard to deliver and to participate in, that we provided something for everything. Of course, one of the features of a diverse participation is that not everybody likes everything, and we'll be obviously interested in the feedback we get afterwards about what works for you. But I think we are diverse enough now as an organisation, as a range of interests that we're involved in, for you to comfort yourself that even the bits that you didn't like, somebody probably enjoyed them. And there's a lot to be gained out of it from the point of view of taking things forward. An event like today's gives us an opportunity, I think, to look back over the previous season and to consider what we've done, perhaps learn lessons from it, make decisions and resolution about where we need to try harder, what we need to expand on. But I think particularly this year, it would be remiss of us not to draw some satisfaction from the fact that we have made achievements, we have made progress, and there are things that we have done that we can look back on as successes. Just talking briefly to Brian before then, I think Supporters Direct can look back with some justification, with pride at the fact that over the course of the last season, 25 football supporters trusts now have secured the designation of their football stadium as an asset of community value. That's a positive contribution that has been made over the course of the last season. The SD's Europe's project of improving the governance in football with partners in over 9 countries has been brought to a successful conclusion this year. And there's been excellent work done on the issue of community ownership in Scotland. So right across the SD family, if you like, there have been progress and success on those issues. I'm very proud to have been involved with the team of the FSF over the course of the last year, and I'm pleased that we can identify things that I think we've scored victories, progress and success on. We managed to stop the imposition of a bubble match on the North East derby, the Tyne and Wear derby for the first time, when we saw fan groups from both sides of what's quite a sharp divide on a lot of occasions in the North East come together in a joint campaign around those particular policing issues. We've had a success which I think has an impact across the whole of football. It'll make others think twice. The success at Hull City, that we can still refer to the Hull City fans as Hull City fans, and long shall that continue. The success of the Safe Standing campaign. Don't forget, it was this season where the Football League, the clubs in the Football League have voted to support trials of safe standing in English football, meaning that we have a real hope that that choice of the ability to stand watching your team will return to the world of English football. And then obviously on the ticket pricing campaign, I'm particularly pleased that the campaign has not only generated a mood and an atmosphere, the 2020 campaign and the work that we've done around ticket pricing, but we can actually say that we have put money back into football supporters' pockets through the campaigning work that we've done. It's only a small scale, it may only be a beginning, but the reciprocal pricing deals that have been done between clubs, particularly at Premier League and at Championship level, have actually made it cheaper for fans to go to away games, and have made it more possible for more people to afford that. I paid £15 to go to see Newcastle play at West Bromwich Albion this season, and the trip that I made from the North East to Swansea on a Tuesday night to lose 3-0 was made a little bit more bearable by the fact that it only cost me 20 quid to get in rather than 35 the previous season. So that's bits of tangible progress, and I think we can draw some satisfaction from that. Looking back on a season like that though, and taking pride in the successes, I hope only fills us with enthusiasm and confidence and optimism for the work that is still to be done, because there is a lot that remains to be done. And one of the features of today's sessions has been to begin to examine in a bit more detail some of those tasks that we've set ourselves over the course of the next year. I feel particularly privileged to be able to work full-time for an organisation furthering the interests and the rights of football supporters. I'd like to thank my team and the team at Supporters Direct who have that similar privilege of working in the interest of both organisations. The staff team who I think in both cases show incredible dedication to their task. They show an enormous amount of knowledge and expertise which they bring to bear, and great energy and imagination how they go about it. And I would like to reflect, and I'm sure I speak for Robin about his team as well, our appreciation of all those efforts that go in. But it is absolutely a privilege to be able to do that on a full-time basis. And the main appreciation that I would like you to show is actually for yourselves, for each other. Because football is enormously enriched by the fact that it has volunteers, people who care enough about the game, not just fighting for self-interest, although that's sometimes part of it, but who care enough about the game and its role and its place in the social fabric of the country, who love the sport enough to give up their free time, not just at a conference like this, but to run supporters' organisations, to campaign on issues of a concern, to fight against bigotry and prejudice, and to argue the case for the football to play the real role that it should in our communities. Every participant in a supporters organisation is in their own way an unsung hero of what goes on in football. We don't necessarily get the kudos and the attention of those who have the privilege and the skills to play on the pitch. But without the supporters, without the energy and effort of supporters going to the matches, paying through the gates, and then taking the time to get involved in activity and do stuff to improve the game because it matters to us, the game would not be as rich as it ended up becoming, the thing that we love so much. So take a moment to congratulate yourselves and the people that you've left behind who work with you day to day, the people who haven't been able to come to the conference. Congratulate yourselves, because your contribution to what we do and the work that we get involved in is absolutely crucial. You're the unsung heroes of football. There are a lot of tasks facing us in the course of the next year. I hope everybody leaves this room with a clearer idea of exactly what needs to be done and hopefully an idea of what you can contribute towards that. One of the roles of both the organisations involved in organising the Supporters Summit is to provide a vehicle through which that activity can be carried out. In the interest of time, and it has been a long day, I don't intend to go through individually what your jobs are. I hope you're working that out for yourselves. I do, however, want to make one plea for the next thing in my agenda in terms of the events that we need to turn out to. We have what called a national demonstration on the issue of affordable football. It's going to be on Thursday, the 14th of August. We're assembling at Marble Arch and we're marching to a meeting with the Football League and the Premier League to discuss with them the issue of affordable football. It's crucial that football, if it's to be an inclusive sport, can be something that people can afford to take part in, and that's not a huge request from our point of view, and yet it seems to be one our experience shows we continue to have to press home in public and make that point as loud and clear as we can. I hope that as many of you as possible will be able to turn out. Yes, it's a working day. Yes, it's just before, or in the case of the Football League, just after the season started. There's never going to be a good, easy day to organise a national demonstration. Trust me, we spent a long time trying to identify one. But I hope that that event will kick off this season's activity. This season of activity of football supporters standing up for their rights, fighting up for our interests, and fighting for the interests of the game as a whole. I hope to see as many as possible of you in Marble Arch in the corner of Hyde Park there before we march on the football authorities on the 14th of August. Every success in all the activities that you undertake in the course of the next season, and we'll see you next year to review, revitalise and march forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kevin. As you can see, Kevin does such a great job leading the Football Supporters Federation, and I'm very grateful to him. The leadership of our supporters movement is in very good hands under Kevin's leadership and Robin, who you saw this morning. So it just remains for me to say a big thank you to all of our speakers, all of our panel members and facilitators who've led the workshops and the plenary sessions. I hope that everyone has enjoyed and felt stimulated by and energised by the passion that you've heard and indeed contributed. Because I think the level of participation from the floor today has been as high as it has been for any of our previous conferences that I can remember. It's been a very clear demonstration, I think, of the degree of common interest that there is between the two organisations and between all of our members. And I think it's a real tribute to the skills, the organisational skills and the close cooperation between the two staff teams. Today clearly wouldn't have been possible without a huge amount of work from them, and also from the Football Association providing this venue and the hospitality. So a sincere thank you to the FA for that support. Also, a big thank you to, actually I think one of our targets for next year must be to try and fix the date for the conference sufficiently early that Greg Dyke can get his easy diary. So a big thank you also to BT Sport and the Supporters Club for their sponsorship, to all our exhibitors and contributors to the delegate packs. Thank you to the volunteers from FC United of Manchester. They're always a shining example as a community club, and we look forward to the opening of their new community stadium in Moston in the autumn. Last but not least, I'd like you to join me in expressing our appreciation to all of the staff in FSF and SD who've been led so ably by Vicky Goodfellow at SD and Dave Rose at the FSF. Thank you.